Hello, and welcome to Cemetery Stories, Capital Connections Edition, Season 4. I'm your host, Capital Eric, and I'm a tour guide here at Sacramento's Historic City Cemetery, as well as the California State Capitol Museum, a unit of California State Parks, just up the road. Today I'd like to tell you a little bit about one of our permanent residents here at the cemetery, someone who was connected in life or in death with the state capitol. Follow me.
Today's account was researched and written by legislative historian Alex Vassar, now at the California State Library. I am retelling it here with Mr. Vassar's kind knowledge and permission, and a few minor modifications. There are some stories that should have more staying power. One mostly forgotten story that falls into that category is the brutal murder of Assemblyman John C. Bell in 1860. What makes it particularly noteworthy is that the murder was carried out by a fellow legislator, that it occurred on the floor of the State Assembly, and that the House was in session at the time. It should be noted that while the following did occur in the California State Capitol, the Capitol at the time was the old county courthouse that stood at the corner of 7th and I Streets in Sacramento, where the county jail now stands, and not in the current state capitol, which opened in 1869. During the session on Wednesday, April 11, 1860, the legislature was working hard to pass a number of bills before the year's scheduled adjournment on Friday. Although the bills being debated covered any number of subjects, the bill that Assemblyman William H. Stone brought up was particularly contentious. It proposed to change the boundary between El Dorado and Sacramento counties in a way that would have drawn Bell outside of El Dorado County and out of the assembly district he represented. The fact that Stone, the author of the legislation, was also from El Dorado County and a political rival of Bell indicates that the bill was probably more political than policy. When Assemblyman Stone stood to address the House, Bell shouted, "Doctor, I am going to defeat your measure." In the words of the current generation, "Come at me, bro." The comment apparently started a heated exchange that continued until the two were removed to the office of the Assembly Sergeant-at-Arms. After entering the room, just off the Assembly floor, Bell reached into his pants pocket to remove a paper, and Stone, fearing that Bell was drawing a pistol, keep in mind that this was still in many ways the Wild West, pulled his own gun and fired 6 times. Amazingly, in a testament to Stone's poor shooting skills, all 6 shots missed Bell in the small room. Bell then advanced on Stone and began hitting him. Stone dropped his pistol, pulled out a knife, and stabbed Bell several times. After being stabbed, Bell stumbled out onto the assembly floor, saying, "I am cut." He was transported out of the Capitol and died 4 days later on April 15th. A grand jury was convened to determine whether Stone should be charged with murder. They ruled that he had acted in his own defense. Stone served for the rest of his term, and the state of California appropriated $1,000 to cover the costs of Assemblyman John C. Bell's burial in the state plot here at Sacramento Historic City Cemetery.
Well, that closes the door on another episode of Cemetery Stories, Capital Connections Edition, Season 4. I'm your host, Capital Eric, and it's been my pleasure telling you a little bit about Sacramento's Historic City Cemetery, as well as the California State Capitol Museum, a unit of California State Parks. Now, while unfortunately the state capitol remains closed to public tours during the pandemic, the cemetery remains open for a solitary stroll or some quiet contemplation. Keep up the social distancing, wash your hands, because it is better to be 6 feet apart than 6 feet under. Hope you enjoyed watching today's episode. Goodbye.